applause, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for spending your time and your energy with me today. Hopefully, I can share with you some insights to Razor and also Sidemount diving with everyone. My name is Tom Chan. I'm a Razor instructor. My number is 0078. So if you guys know James Bond, I am Bond 8, all right? A quick introduction about myself. I'm a PADI course director. I'm also a PADI Tech Rec instructor. And recently I've become a Razor Sidemount instructor. As I mentioned, 0078 or Ling Ling Chat Pat. I actually am the owner and entrepreneur. I own Scuba Doobie-Doo Divers, a 5-star PADI, 5-star instructor development center. We are located in Cheras of Sri Kembangan. And if you pass down the back of the corner, you'll see our entire display out there. And yes, I am actually a chartered certified accountant. I'm a trained accountant. And also I've been a corporate investment banker for the last 20 years. So I'm actually good with dollars and cents in terms of business. I started scuba diving in year 2000. That's about 23 years ago. I am I've been an instructor since 2008. All right. I'm actually passionate about exploration. I enjoy outdoors since I was a very young kid. Since 13 years old, I've been doing rock climbing, mountain climbing, etc. until I found my love for scuba diving. Right. Yeah. Another thing I like to share with you, I also like teaching scuba, and I also like teaching Tai Chi Chuan, which is a kind of soft martial art, yeah. All right, this is my contact. If you guys need to contact me, you can email me at Dive with Rays. I'm also very active on the Facebook. I move away. You can contact me or WhatsApp me on my number. We are Scuba Doobie-Doo Divers and also Razor as well. Right, I want to start the story out there. Any one of you have an iPhone out there? Is using an iPhone? Yeah, one. Any iPhone users? Yeah, another one. Any more iPads? Anybody uses iPad out there? Yeah, I see a couple of iPads out there. Right. Since we are divers, I want you to give me a hand signal, okay? But as a diver, we don't do this, thumbs up, because you know why? It means abort the dive, right? So I want you to show me a hand signal if you love your iPhone, iPads, an okay signal or a not okay signal. Which do you like? Not okay? Okay? Okay, we got some okays and not okay, right? But generally, if you look at, I want to share with you some case studies because on the evolution of Apple Inc. Apple was actually created in 1976, about 50 years ago, right? If you look, the first product which was created was actually the Apple I. It was sold for US dollar 888. It became a household sensation. Yeah, it was a personal desktop or personal computer as it was known at that time. But over the years, Apple has actually evolved by going into iPod, iMac, iPads, iPhones, all right? And do remember that it's a hardware. It's also supported by what we call the operating system or the software, the iOS, all right? Both works together in a very nice manner to actually run the entire product. Okay. Similarly, in Razor Sidemount systems, I think a lot of you know that razors are actually a BCD, but today hopefully I want to share with you, it is also what we call a software. It is a part of a training system which is very specified for side mount diving. All right? Okay, so today's topic I'm going to quickly run through. I'm going to share with you my story about side mount diving and how I actually got involved in side mount. And why go into the side mount. Hopefully you can see the pros and the cons based on my opinion, whether you like doing side mount or not. And then I'm going to talk to you about the razor side mount system, the hardware part of it, the BCD, the system that supports side mount diving. And last but not least, I want to share with you what the training entails under the razor side mount. All right? And we'll end up with a Q&A session for everybody out there. All right? All right, let me start by my story about side mount diving. I started side mount diving in 2015. I had no idea, I had no clue what side mount diving is all about. All I know was it was carrying 2 tanks at the side of me. All right? I was no idea at all. I went into it by trying trial and error, going through learning the right things, learning the wrong things, doing everything crazy. All right? And I started my PADI tech in 2016. I had this huge BCD down here, you call the Hollis SMS 100. Huge, very hardy, very tough BCD. I started with that. And eventually in 2019, I did my Tech 45 and Tech 50. I also tried using the Dive Rack Nomad and also the Hollis Katana. All right, I tried with a lot of systems. So, sad to say, I started by exploring and trying out different things as I went along the way of side mount, right? And it was only about 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, I started training with my mentor, SF Chong. He's actually at Sanctum Exploration. He's back at our booth at A30. I went into some really harsh training in side mount, things about trim, buoyancy, everything about side mount. For the last 2 years, I actually was pushed to the limit to learn about side mount diving. And and also switched to razor side mount systems. I expanded that into tech side mount, carrying 4 tanks up to 5 tanks up for tech deep dive. And recently, as recent as last year, I attended the instructor examination in Philippines with the trainer. He's actually H.P. Hartman, one of the more world-renowned side mount explorers. I also went through some really harsh training with him. Hard training, but good training for definitely, for sure. And even when I was doing my final instructor exam, I was still learning, fine-tuning and trying different techniques to get things right, okay? And if I look back again today, I would have rather started on the right foot in side mount, all right? After all that 8 years I've gone through, it was a big circle coming back, and I've learned everything, all right? More or less everything, but yeah. As I said, if you want to start with the right foot, start with razor side mount, both, as I mentioned, the hardware and the software, which is the training system, the hardware, which is the BCD. Okay, why go into side mount? This is my personal opinion of why we should go into side mount. I feel totally comfortable and at ease using the side mount system. In fact, now at almost every recreational dive, I go into side mount. Everything is very familiar to me when I go into side mount configuration. It gives me a wider choice of diving. If I decide to go for rack penetration, if I decide to go for deep diving, if I decide to go decompression diving, even with 2 tanks of air, I'm ready to go into that, all right? And of course, with a side mount configuration, you are actually a self-reliant diver on your own because you are actually going in with redundancy. We have redundant air, we have redundant slates, redundant dive computers. That's the part of the training. And last but not least, an inherently safer system with wider flexibility and pretty simple in terms of it, okay? All right, these are the challenges for somebody who's trying to get into side mount. And this is what I faced as a diver when I first started. It has a lot of training, extra training. I wouldn't say a lot of training. You need to get comfortable with it. Lots of practice required. Maybe in the pool, maybe in the open water as well. There are additional task loading. You need to manage more of your gas management. You need to do more of your trim, your buoyancy, your lateral trim, your horizontal trim comes into play as you go into it. It's a less stable system. So if you are a recreational diver and your buoyancy is like this, it will be very notable when you're in side mount configuration. You will go from like this to like this, all right? So there are a lot of basics we need to cover when we're doing the side mount training. It's more difficult to standardize equipment skills and procedures. For example, if you have a diver who is on a signal tank, yellow hose, if you look at a side mount diver, we don't have any yellow hose. We only have a long hose and a short hose, yeah? All right? So your buddy needs to get familiar with your configuration in case of out of gas. They need to know where to reach for your additional gas as well. And one of the challenges for a lot of side mount divers is actually it's more difficult to use from a boat. It's also more difficult to wear the tanks on land because you're dealing with two tanks instead of one tank, and both of them are right in front of you. Okay? All right. I want to talk a bit about the hardware itself. The hardware itself means your BCD. A Razor system is actually very complete in terms of side mount systems. Why I like about Razor, it is flexible configuration. It starts you on the basic level and you can move from the basic as an ocean diving or open water diver all the way down to wet rack penetration, to warm water diving, cold water diving, technical diving, cavern and cave diving, and even CCRs on the side mount configuration. It gives you the wider choice of flexibility. And if you are planning to move on this route up there, then Razor side mount BCD, the hardware, is the choice to start with. All right? Another thing which I really like about Razor side mount system, look at this guy, Andy Owens. He's actually 6'1", 111 kilos. He can fit into a Razor side mount system. The other lady, the cave instructor, Natalie, is only 4'11". At 44 kilos, both can be customized accordingly to their body shape, to the structure of a male and female. For female, normally the load of the back or the waist is actually put on the hip, whereas males have bigger chest and shoulders as well. So a Razor instructor is trained to configure a setup for any diver out there on a new setup, okay? Right, this is me. That's how I look when I get into a Razor side mount. Now, a couple of words or a couple of things that come to you, normally it will come to me, is it's extremely streamlined. All right, you don't see anything jutting out from the BCD. It's really compact. It's really lightweight. It's really compact. It's really trim, lightweight, and redundancy. It has a redundant bladder, which can be used in an emergency if your primary bladder fails. Okay? All right, let's have a quick look at one of the Razor. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Razer side mount system. As I mentioned, it has evolved quite a bit from the day it was started. Today, I want to share with you a bit about the software, the training course, which is Razer certifications. All right. So a lot of people think diving is equipment related. They go out, they pay the highest price, the best BCDs, the best regulators out there. They go out to buy the best equipment they can afford, right? But that's only half the story, all right? Because the other half of the story is the software or the training course itself, okay? That binds both your equipment and also your training and your dive skills and make you an excellent diver or a good diver or a poor diver, all right? So, yeah, Razer instructors, as I mentioned, there's not many in the world, however, but generally Razer instructors really get trained really hard. As what HP says, to earn a place there. We focus a lot into basic skills. The 3 basic skills, the essential skills, is actually your propulsion, your trim, and your buoyancy with the side mount tanks. Eventually, you get repetition of these skills to actually get it perfect or at least near perfect to a level where the side mount instructor says, all right, it's good. All right. Why? Because as you can see, the Razer side mount systems is built for higher expansion. Tomorrow, you want to move into cave diving, you are ready for it. Tomorrow, if you're going into technical diving, you are ready for that. And the Razer side mount courses starts you on a very strong foundation. All right. It also means that when you start on a new configuration, like a side mount setup, most of us actually start on the back mount single tank. When you go on a side mount setup, you need to get used to it, familiarize, and get used to the new configuration. So in Razer training, you cannot move forward until your basic core skills are really strong, or what we call the foundation is really strong. Okay? So the next question is, a lot of people ask me, what's so different about Razer side mount courses? There are a lot of other specialty courses out there. There is a huge distinction over the rest of the courses, all right? Some of them is actually, as I mentioned, the Razer course actually prepares you the foundation level to expand into many levels in the future. Now, if you are a very new diver, you are an open water diver, you have not clocked many dives, I wouldn't recommend you to come and join the Razer course. But if you have 100 or 200 dives or maybe 1,000 dives where your buoyancy is very stable, you come in and start the course because you will enjoy it, because you will have a very huge potential to expand the horizon. Side mount courses are generally tailored specifically for cave diving, but they allow a wide variety of different environments to go in. All right? Yeah, there are a lot of skills which we do. Propulsion techniques, different types of propulsion techniques, helicopter kicks, reverse finning, lateral trims, horizontal turns. The use of the redundant bladder system prepares you in any emergency. If you're in a cave where one of your equipment actually fails, you are ready to help yourself in any emergency. All right. Gas staging, one of it, if you're doing gas, technical diving, or even cave diving, advanced cave, stage cave, we do the training in the basic level of Razer course, staging process. So most of this training will allow you to expand further if you want to go further up, okay? But if you just want to do open water diver and dive in the open ocean, then I would recommend you to take any other specialty course out there, all right? Okay, just a simple course structure. Day one, we focus a lot of theory. We also look into the 1/3 rule, which is very important as if you go into cave diving. Some dry skills workshop. We do a lot more confined water dives. Maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days, depending on your skill sets. And the last day, we actually do an open water dive. Minimum requirements, advanced open water. The requirements are pretty low, but I do suggest you clock much more dive if you plan to do a Razor course with us. Yeah. On top of that, there's an expansion of the basic open water course, which is the rescue workshop. The rescue workshop is custom tailored for Sidemount divers, helping and assisting in any emergency situation towards a Sidemount diver, okay? Let's have a quick watch of the video here. There you have it, the Razor side mount system. Let me summarize this, and basically we end up with some Q&A. I shared with you my story of side mount diving, the trials and tribulations of how I actually started side mount. I hope that I can give you the right path rather than going in the wrong path. Start with the right foot, all right? And why go side mount? There's a lot of benefits of going into side mount, but there's also a lot of cons. It depends on which perspective you look at. If you'd like to know more about side mount, you can come to talk to me after this. I showed you the hardware, the BCD itself, which gives you a lot of flexibility. But on top of that, I call it the hardware, the software, which is the training course itself. Developing your skill sets is actually the core principles of getting your training right, okay? Yeah, that's about it for my talk. I would end up the session, a Q&A session, if anyone has any questions for me. Anyone?
Any questions from the floor? Anyone? Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
The question is like this. For the members of the public, if they want to find you, where do they go?
All right. Thank you, Ben. Well, you can actually, let me just quickly run through my contact. If you need to look for me, you can contact me here, divewithrace@gmail.com. Contact me on Facebook, and you can also WhatsApp me. I will be at booth A28 to A30 until the end of this show. So come and talk to me and have a quick chat with me if you have any further questions, yeah? All right? If no questions, I will end my talk. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Well, a round of applause, please. Thank you so much, Tom Chan, and that was an interesting topic. We'll be having the next one commencing at 4:20, the panel discussion, marine conservation and sustainable.